Is this autumnal enough for you guys? What's up everyone, my name's Ercy and welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm doing the end of the year book tag, and I figured because it's the end of the year I'd give you all the cozy vibes in this video. I got the fire going behind me. I got my glass of coquito here. Every holiday season my husband makes a few batches of coquito, which if you don't know what it is, it's just Puerto Rican eggnog. But this one specifically is like a pistachio one, but my husband put like way too much pistachios in it, so it's really pistachio-y, but we're still gonna drink it anyways. But anyways, so I was trying to do this by Bryce over at Shelf Centered, my booktube friend. He's got an awesome channel. I always talk about his channel anytime that he tags me in anything. He talks about fantasy, he throws in some sci-fi. He's a really great guy on the platform. I need you guys to go check him out. He's going to be linked in the description box of this video. But yeah, he tagged me to do the end of the year book tag. He also tagged me to do the bookish drummer tag, and I have that planned out. I just have to sit and film it, but I figured this one's more like on a timeline because the end of the year is approaching. So I figured I'd give this one to you guys first and then do the bookish drummer tag sometime next week. But yeah, let's get on with this tag because this fire is really hot and I'm afraid it's gonna pop out and burn my hair. So let's get on with the tag. So the first question of this tag is, are there any books you started this year that you still need to finish? So I don't really hop around a lot of books. I just have like one audiobook going and one physical book going. So I'm just gonna talk about the physical book I'm reading right now. So it's the fourth Dark Tower book. I have Wizard in Glass by Stephen King. I'm about 167 pages into this book and I'm really enjoying it. I feel like this one, I think we're gonna get more into Roland's story, and he's starting to tell his past right now. So it's getting really interesting in this guy right here. So this is my answer for this question. Question number 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? The first thought in my head when I read this question was like, no, I just read what I want. And then here I go talking about a spooky book that I read right before Halloween. So I'm going to talk about Nocturne by H.B. Diaz. This is a collection of short stories that are all gothic horror, and I really like this collection. I was lucky enough to have the author send me a digital copy of the book and for review purposes, and I wound up loving it so much I wound up just buying my own copy of the book because I thought it was so good. So I really enjoyed this book. I hope you guys go and check it out. I'll also leave a link to my review of this book for you guys to go look at and decide for yourselves whether or not you want to check this one out. But this is a really great collection. Very atmospheric, very spooky, a lot of different themes presented throughout this whole book. And my favorite story in this one was definitely the parasite, and it's only a paragraph long, and I still cannot stop thinking about the parasite. So I need you guys to go check it out so we can talk about it. All right, so that's Nocturne by H.B. Diaz. Question number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? My answer to this is no, just because I kind of have all the books that I'm reading right now. But if I was gonna choose something, I would say The Fall of Babel, but that already came out this month, just because I'm in the middle of that series. But if I were to kind of think ahead, I know Jade Legacy is coming out at the end of the year, and that's definitely a series that I want to get into. The Jade War, Jade City, I think is the first one. So I definitely want to get into that series, and I think the last book is coming out next month, but I haven't even started the series, so it's not like I'm really looking forward to it because I haven't started the series yet. So I'm excited for other people to read it. Question number 4, what are 3 books you want to read by the end of the year? Just thinking ahead as far as the books that I'm currently reading or the series that I'm in, obviously I want to continue on with the Dark Tower series. So I have book number 5 right here, Wolves of the Kala, the 5th book of the Dark Tower series. So I'm hoping to get into this one in December. The next one I definitely want to get into is going to be book 3 of the Books of Babel, and that is The Hod King by Josiah Bancroft. My cousin just sent this to me. I'm so excited. So yeah, this is book number 3. So hopefully I will be able to get into this one at least by December. I want to continue on in the series and read the 3rd book of the Books of Babel series. And then, plot twist, definitely Dune by Frank Herbert. So, funny story, I'm going to get into it real quick. I had borrowed a vintage copy of the book from my father-in-law when my husband and I first started dating, like a long time ago. I had borrowed it from him. I started reading it. I put it down, and then I just never gave it back. I had it in my possession for like 10 years. My father-in-law forgot that he lent it to me, and he blamed like some other guy at his job, like stealing his book. Like he thought he stole the book. Meanwhile, it was in my possession the whole time. And so I tried reading it like a couple months ago, and then the font in the book was way too small. And I wound up just sending it back to him after having it with me for like 10 years. But then I wound up buying my own copy of the book, and the font is not small here. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's one of those things, like when you get older, you're like, is the font a little too small? Are my eyes going bad? And I don't have bad eyesight. It was a little embarrassing. But I got my own copy of the book, so hopefully I can get into this at least by the end of the year. I definitely want to see the movie. I'm gonna wind up seeing the movie before I get into this guy, but I'm just really happy to have it. That way I can get to it whenever I can. So yeah, there you go. Question number 5. Is there a book you think will shock you and become your favorite book of the year? Not really. I think maybe The Hod King. I feel like a lot of people have been really, really excited about this book. I've been hearing really great reviews from a lot of people that I trust over on the bookish universe. So maybe this one, but right now I'm having a lot of fun with Wizard and Glass. I really enjoyed The Wastelands by Stephen King. I also gave that one 5 stars, but the Senlin Ascends Books of Babel series, like each of these books, I've been giving 5 stars. This book series is really incredible. The writing, the story, the plot twist, like this series, I really think this is going to become one of my favorite series because each of these books I've been giving 5 stars. So I'm really excited to get into this one, and maybe this might be the one. We'll see. All right, and the last question is, have you already started making reading plans for next year? So yes and no. One of the things that I want to try to do better with next year is definitely like mood reading a little more and reading a lot of the books in my own collection. This year, my book collection like exploded. So I really think that next year the focus is probably going to be more reading the stuff that I have and cutting down on the book purchases. However, one of the other goals that I do want to try to strive towards is reading a lot more Latino books or books by Latino authors and Hispanic authors. I feel like as a Latina, I need to do better in terms of reading stuff from my peoples. And the stories are always beautiful. I always find myself being very pleasantly surprised whenever I read a story by a Latin author. One of my favorite books this year was Infinite Country by Patricia Engel. I gave that one, I believe, 4 or 5 stars. Elizabeth Acevedo has quickly become one of my favorite authors, and she writes YA contemporary books, and I really love her writing style as well. So I just want to keep going with the Latino authors and sharing more of their works on my channel. So I feel like that's something that I definitely want to try to do. And earlier on in this year, I made a video where I talked about books that intimidated me. So I'll give you a quick preview as to what those are. So definitely Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. For some reason, this book intimidates me, but I'm probably going to get to this one in January because I think the sequel to this one comes out in February. So here I go talking about buying books when I just said I wasn't going to buy books. Story of my life. But anyways, I think the sequel to this one comes out in February, so I definitely want to get to this one. And this was one of the books that I talked about in that video of books that intimidate me. 2 Dostoevsky books that I want to try to get to next year also. Crime and Punishment along with the brothers Karamazov. So I definitely want to try to get into these 2 guys next year and just get over this fear that I have over these big old tomes. So I definitely want to try to get into these guys. Ulysses by James Joyce has been a long time coming. I've been wanting to read this since I was like 18. This is just so intimidating to me for whatever reason. So I just want to get to this. And finally, I want to be able to say that I've read The Lord of the Rings. I've never read this series. I did this to myself by buying the this edition that all 3 books are in this one little edition. So it looks like a Bible. Like so big. Yeah, I definitely want to get into this series and definitely reading a lot more fantasy series. I just want to read the books that I have. And I think that's just my goal next year, is just to share what I have, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the journey as I read all the books that I own, plus more. I think this is the part of the video where I start tagging other people, but this is going to be really hard because a lot of people have already done this tag. I was looking through right before filming this just to make sure. So I found 3 people who have not done this tag. The first person I'm going to tag to do this is going to be my booktube buddy Amanda over at the Reading and Writing Life. I think her wrap up should be very interesting, being that she reads so many books. I'm so envious that you are able to read so many. I'm such a slow reader. So Amanda, I want to see you do this tag. And the next 2 people are 2 of my booktube buddies from across the pond. I'm going to tag Dom and Dominish Books, my fantasy resource. Dom, I would love to see you do this tag. And I'm also going to tag Ben from Overly Average Ben. I think your take on this tag would be chef's kiss. So let's see you do this tag. But yeah, that's it. That's the end of the year book tag. I got my fire going. I got my coquito. Like, I'm good. I'm set. I'm happy. I got my books. I'm surrounded by all the books. My dog is right here next to me. He's sleeping right here next to the fire. So everything's nice and toasty and good. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.